Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about multiple topics and we are first going to talk about La Liga, more specifically Barcelona. So yesterday the players did take a test to check and see if they have symptoms, and we can see in these pictures that all players, they have arrived. Football is coming back. We can see the players heading into the facility. Some need haircuts, some look a little bit chunkier than others, but it's okay because Barcelona is coming back. And the original idea for Barcelona right now is that they will be training individually at first and then train in small groups and then eventually get into the phase where they can all train together again. And today, about 5 to 6 hours ago, it has been reported by Rack 1 that Barcelona players are all free. The results come back are negative. Barcelona players will start training tomorrow with individual trainings at the training facility. Now, another thing that I do want to mention is the Dembele case, right? Because it says right here that Dembele will not be able to take part in tomorrow's COVID-19 test, which was today, right? It's only for registered players that will be able to take part, like Martin Braithwaite. This is because Barcelona signed Braithwaite as Dembele's replacement, due to which the Frenchman can't take part, which means that Dembele will not participate in any La Liga games for this season, which is the 2019-2020 season. Can he participate in the UEFA Champions League games? Yes, he can, but that's not going to be until August, which is also the expected date for Dembele to come back. But if Dembele does come back earlier and let's say that he comes back in mid-July or maybe in the beginning of July, Dembele will not be able to participate in any La Liga games. The other thing that I do want to point out is that it has been official that La Liga has officially proposed to allow teams to use 5 substitutions once the league games resumes. Now, there is pros and cons to this. The pros is that the players can rest. Other players will be given opportunities to play on the field. But the one big con that I do want to point out is that managers can use this as a time waster. So like, for example, you use 2 subs from within minute 1 to minute 70, and then in the last 20 minutes of the match you use all 3 substitutions for the sake of wasting time. So there is pros and cons. We are going to get more in depth on this situation as the La Liga games come closer, and it is a very important topic that we need to talk about because this is a never before seen at FC Barcelona. 5 substitutions is a lot, so it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out. But the most important thing to take away from this is that these Barcelona players, they're coming back, they're training, we're making progress, and it's better than having no progress. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Gustavo Maya. It says here, according to UOL, Barcelona will close the signing of Gustavo in coming days. The club will pay 3.5 million euros to Sao Paulo FC to complete the transfer. The player should be in Barcelona anytime between August and September. So if you guys don't know who Gustavo is, he is a 19-year-old Brazilian center forward, and he is a player that has a lot of pace. He loves to attack the space that's in front of him, so he is a very good number 9. He has been called as the gem in Sao Paulo B, and there has been multiple sources claiming that Liverpool have actually also been following this kid. So this player right here, named Gustavo, will be a player to look out for in the preseason when August does roll around for FC Barcelona. Right now we are just waiting for the confirmation that it's going to be official that Barcelona have put in the 3.5 million to bring in this player. So there's a lot to look forward to. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Ivan Rakitic. So according to Sport, it says the relationship between Rakitic and the club is at its lowest following the Croatian arrival in 2014. Now, there is no reliable sources or journalists claiming that Rakitic has a bad relationship with FC Barcelona. I think this rumor, this report is solely being built off what has been going on over the past 12 to 14 months. Like, they are collecting all the past information. They're looking at how Barcelona tried to put Rakitic in all of these deals for Neymar Jr. or Lautaro Martinez and many other things, right? And it's crazy to see this because I feel like Sport wants to create tension between Rakitic and FC Barcelona, because whatever sports put around and gets to Catalonia usually ends up getting heard by the players, and then they have to address it and say, look, this is not true. And look, Rakitic does not want to leave the club, right? And that's the big problem for FC Barcelona, because we know that Barcelona do want to collect funds from this player. And the last situation Barcelona wants to be in next season is keeping Ivan Rakitic, not sell this player, not get 30 to 35 million euros for this player and pay him 200,000 a week in wages. He even said in an interview, he said, I will decide my future. I will not be treated like a sack of potatoes. So Rakitic is a player that wants to be controlled of his own destiny. He's not that type of player to say, yeah, I'll go wherever Barcelona tells me to. He wants to be in full control, which means that Rakitic wants Sevilla. And right now, Sevilla cannot afford him because of the pandemic that has greatly affected not only Sevilla, but multiple clubs. And as we get closer to the summer, the more and more likely is starting to look for Rakitic to actually stay at FC Barcelona and see out his contract in 2021. And there has been reports stating that the club have informed to Rakitic that he will be seeing less minutes if he decides to stay at FC Barcelona. And I believe there's a bigger problem than just saying that Rakitic is going to stay at FC Barcelona. The big problem I see here is that Rakitic is taking a spot in the 23-man list. Like when we do have those match days next season, Rakitic is going to be in that 23-man list, and it's going to be a wasted spot. That spot could be used for a player like Monchu, Todibo, maybe even Ricky Puig, any La Masia player that's looking to make a breakthrough. That spot could be used for those players. And every man that's going to be on that list, on that 23-man list, should be a player that wants to represent the badge, should be a player that's looking to make the club better and make history with FC Barcelona. But no, we do have one spot in that 23-man list that's only going to be there because he cannot get into Sevilla in the summer of 2020. So look, Ivan Rakitic is not a bad player. He's not. He's a world-class player, but he has overstayed his stay. He is not good enough to be Barcelona starting 11 material, and we have to move forward. We need new players. We need to reconstruct this team. And what Barcelona needs to do is really have a conversation with Ivan Rakitic and make him understand that this project that we are going to have sooner rather than later will have nothing to do with Ivan Rakitic. Now, the next topic that I do want to talk about is Neymar Jr. And this is a very, very interesting one. So there is a company called KPMG. So what KPMG does is that they do in-depth market valuation of football players based off proprietary algorithms, right? And it says here, they claim that the collapse of the transfer market has forced players' values to plummet. They have also said that the top 20 most valuable players in Europe will see their value decrease by an average of 20% if the season is cancelled and 13% if it resumes until the end behind closed doors. They have also claimed that for PSG, superstars like Kylian Mbappe and Neymar Jr., that their values will decrease by 21.5% and 21.7% respectively. And it's a huge coincidence to hear this because the Ligue 1 has been cancelled, which means that they will get the maximum decrease in value, which means that KPMG have claimed that Neymar Jr. is worth 137 million euros. So what does this mean for FC Barcelona? Does this change anything for the club? Because now we can officially say that Neymar Jr. went from 220 million euros back in 2019 to now, and he's worth 137 million euros. And now that we think about it, Lautaro Martinez is worth 111 million euros. Neymar Jr. is worth 137 million euros. There is a $26 million difference between these two players. Now, could this drastic decrease in market value make Neymar Jr. the first priority for FC Barcelona? And in my opinion, I think that Neymar Jr. is still right under Lautaro Martinez. I think that even with this decrease, Barcelona still see Lautaro Martinez as the first priority. But I also have a bold claim that Neymar Jr. is above the midfield and defending options for the summer of 2020 in terms of the priority list. But look, in my opinion, I think that Neymar Jr. should still be the fourth priority in that list. I think that it should go Lautaro Martinez as the first priority, then look for defenders, then look for midfielders, and then consider bringing in Neymar Jr. Neymar Jr. should be the last person we want to bring in, because even with 137 million euros, that's still very expensive for a player. But the reason why I'm saying that Neymar is second in that priority list is because not too long ago, about 9 to 10 months ago, Bartomeu's biggest desire was to bring in Lautaro Martinez and Neymar Jr. There was a time where they thought that they could bring both of these players in for next season. And so with this president, with this board, we don't know what could happen. We still have tons of players in our disposal to swap. We have Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann, and Umtiti on the market. And our best option is to use Antoine Griezmann. We could use this player, but there has been a report coming from the most reliable journalist who is named Fabrizio Romano, and he claimed that talks about a Griezmann and Lautaro swap had also emerged, but Antoine has made it clear since February that he doesn't want to leave. His salary is also high, which could create problems for Inter Milan. That is is why he is now out of the Lautaro Martinez operation. Now, I could be reaching here. This could mean that Griezmann just doesn't want to go to Inter Milan. Maybe we could still include Griezmann in that Neymar Jr. operation and go to PSG and go to his homeland, but we never know. Maybe Griezmann does want to stay at FC Barcelona. He doesn't want to quit after one season, but this is going to be a very long summer. We don't know what to expect. So has this 137 million euro price increased Neymar's chances of going to FC Barcelona? Yes, I think it did, but is it still difficult for Neymar Jr. to come to FC Barcelona? Yes, it is. And I'm going to stick with this. Our first priority should be Lautaro Martinez. Our second priority should be to get a center back. Our third priority should be to get a midfielder and then consider bringing in Neymar Jr. if we have the money for it. Now moving on to the last topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Felipe Coutinho. So according to Marca, Barcelona wants to sell Coutinho for 90 million euros, but there's no interest. He could be loaned out, but Setien might use him in the midfield. He earns 30 million per year, and the clause in his contract says Barcelona must pay Liverpool 20 million if he plays 100 La Liga games. He's at 76. Now, this is one of the biggest problems of bringing in Felipe Coutinho, because it's not just bringing him in and giving him a chance, right? There's also the wages. There's also fees that we have to pay. One of the biggest problems is that Coutinho earns 30 million per year. And let's say Barcelona do keep Felipe Coutinho, and let's say that Barcelona says, yes, let's try Coutinho under Quique Setien, which means that he will end up playing more than 100 La Liga games. We will have to pay the 20 million fee to Liverpool, which means Coutinho will cost us a total of around 50 million euros for his services in one season. And we don't even know if Coutinho is going to stay after that. And then it's going to look like we wasted that 20 million for nothing, because we don't even know if Coutinho is going to work well under Quique Setien. So there is a lot of what ifs, right? We don't even know if Coutinho is going to function well at FC Barcelona. Then we have another interesting report coming from Mundo Deportivo, and they stated that Newcastle United is becoming a real option for Felipe Coutinho. The possibility that Pochettino arrives with the Brazilian, a player in which he has always been interested in, is gaining strength. Barcelona want 100 million euros. And I do want to pull up an interview that this former Espanyol player named John Golobart that he had 2 years ago. He said this: even if you are very young, he will back you if you share his passion. I am sure Coutinho got the message because Pochettino supported him all the time. Even when there were matches where Coutinho didn't perform the way we wanted, he had continuity. Sometimes there are trainers that don't defend young players, but Pochettino defended Felipe Coutinho. So the reason why I pulled up this interview from this former Espanyol player is because Pochettino and Coutinho do have a relationship. They have worked together before in Espanyol. Now the big question is, could Newcastle pull this off? Because Newcastle do have a new owner. That new owner is worth $230 billion, and Newcastle is considered the new richest club in the world, which makes this report so intriguing, right? Because having Pochettino and Coutinho in Newcastle is very exciting. They do have the money, they do have the capability to bring those two people in. But even with that, I think that we should take this with a grain of salt. I think this report is trying to make headlines and capitalize off of Newcastle being the richest club in the world. I don't think Coutinho is going to say yes to go to Newcastle, and I also don't see Pochettino going to Newcastle just because they are the richest club in the world. It could happen, right? They could repeat what Man City did from 2011 all the way until now, but it's not going to happen that fast. Again, I don't see Coutinho saying yes to a club like Newcastle. I think for this summer, Coutinho's main three choices is going to be stay at Barcelona or move to Chelsea or be included in a swap deal. And that could be for whoever, right? It can be for Inter Milan or PSG. And there also hasn't been no reliable journalist claiming that Newcastle is interested in bringing in Felipe Coutinho. So that is it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a lot of information to talk about, but that is what's going on in FC Barcelona today. There is a lot to talk about. There is a lot to look forward to. The Barcelona players are coming back. We will see them play sooner rather than later, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to make these post-match analysis again, and I will be making it here in this YouTube channel. So if you guys are new here, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you guys do like this video. I am happy that you are here, and I will see you guys in my next video.